liked about this certification process is that it didn't just look at, okay, how many different materials do you have that you're recycling? It actually looked at each one of these and are you doing the highest and best use for that material? So are there other things that you could be doing instead of just recycling? Yes, most all of our spent grain, hops, and yeast does go for cattle feed, and it stays within about 50 miles of us, so it stays very local. We're lucky. Reporting is another big one they look at. They want to make sure you're tracking all of this stuff. We all have zero waste or diversion spreadsheets, but they look at very specific things. You have to report this annually, so we send them this information annually. Purchasing is something we still have a long way to go. We have some opportunities here, but we do, require recycled content on all new things, FSC certified paper products, toilet paper, things like that. But and then carpeting is a big one. But this is something where we didn't earn as many points as we could have, and something we're working on. Leadership. So again, this is looking at your top-down management. Are they supportive of this program? Are they involved in the program? Yes, we have this zero waste goal that was put forth to managers and accepted by them. Definitely don't want to waste beer. But this was just the example that we used to meet that credit. Training, so we do have 4 actually now full-time people dedicated to sustainability and zero waste as part of the company. So that's huge. 4 full-time people, that's all we do. So that's a dedication right there. And then we do a lot of employee education as part of that. Audits are an important piece of it as well, as we all know. So they require you to do a trash audit and a recycling audit every year. You have to document it, disseminate it to employees. So again, we thought that was really good. It does focus on upstream management. So how well are you working with your suppliers to reduce the waste that's coming into your facility? So these are just a few examples of things we've done. We've asked that these things are not individually wrapped when they come to us, because that was a pain in the butt. We ask that people sending in material on pallets, that it is the green PET strap so that we can recycle it. Let's see here. Hazardous waste, they just want to make sure you're following all regulations, which is good. And then I'll just go through really quick a couple closed loop examples that are fun to talk about. We do have a restaurant, as I mentioned. All that waste vegetable oil goes into an on-site biodiesel machine. We make biodiesel, it goes into our trucks to deliver beer up in California. CO2 recovery, so fermentation tanks are naturally producing CO2. We capture that CO2, we compress it, store it as a liquid, regasify it, and use it throughout the brewery for various things. So we're recycling that CO2 as it's being generated. Biogas recovery, so we do have, this is my last one, I promise. All the wastewater leaving our brewing processes through cleaning, hose bibs, that kind of thing, it's all treated in an on-site wastewater treatment plant. That is generating biogas through an anaerobic digester. That biogas then goes into our boilers that generate heat and steam that go back into the brewing process. So again, a really nice closed loop there. And then finally, I mentioned the hot rot earlier, and this is my favorite closed loop. So we're collecting all that food waste from the restaurant. It goes into the hot rot. That compost stays on site. We have a 2-acre restaurant garden that grows fruits and vegetables and herbs to go back in the restaurant. And we also have an 8-acre hop field and a 30-acre barley field that compost ends up in. So that's my favorite closed loop, and we were talking about farm to fork earlier. And, so that's kind of fun. That's it.
All right, so does anybody have any questions for Mandi?
Go!
Thank you.
Maureen. You've been a leader on a lot of different ways in this field. Are you considering reusable bottles as an next?
Really good question, and I get that question a lot. Ken actually originally started the brewery with returnable bottles, that wonderful system that we've all heard of. Unfortunately, due to the extent of the problem with glass bottles in this country, one being that all breweries and all beverage manufacturers in general, we all want our own proprietary bottle, right? So that's part of the marketing piece, and every bottle is different. So to try to get all of just our bottle back from all the states, I mean, we're nationwide, is just a huge logistical undertaking that I can't see it happening. I would like to do it in Chico, and we have talked about that. At least locally, we could probably make that happen, and that is definitely something we're looking into. And then again, also in the new brewery in Mills River. At least keep it, locally, we could probably do that. Yeah? Oh, sorry.
I have a collection of refillable beer bottles from the 70s and 80s. If you would like to take that picture show people what they look like, I'd be glad to loan it to you.
Cool. That sounds good.
I just want to follow up to Maureen and John's point, which is that beer drinkers will separate their bottles according to their recyclability.
Hi, I'm Corey Allen, Executive Director of DC Ball and Recycling Association. And there is a system, it's called a deposit system. In Canada, we have a 98% return rate for beer bottles. So they use 15 to 18 months each. So if your governments across the U.S. are willing to support that, we'll go to help.
Great. I do know, one of the issues I was just talking about, do they all use the same bottle up there?
There's a standard industry bottle
Right.
that brewers can use, but we do have other breweries. They
Okay.
have their own unique bottles. They have a little bit more for collection and sorting, but it gives you that much.
Cool. Yeah, pretty much everywhere in Europe, they've got it down.
Any other questions? Okay, oh, yes, two more. Okay, you and then you.
So I noticed that you were at 99.8% diversion. I was wondering what the other 0.2 is and what you're doing to
A lot of it is it's those mixed materials that we have a really hard time finding. It's like things like air filters or that Mylar packaging. I showed a quick picture of it, but it's a lot of our hops come in this foil. It's that foil plastic packaging that we're actually working with the hop growers to redesign the packaging to at least get something that we can recycle, a plastic bag type thing, or maybe even a reusable container. Kites? Yeah. I don't know if we can make that many kites. But good question.
Okay, I have a question. What's the straw situation there?
Straw?
Straw in the restaurant, straws.
Oh, we had a battle with the straws. When we got the hot route, we did switch to, we actually switched to mostly reusable things, the things that we couldn't, things like kids' cups and to-go containers and things like that, straws included. It is the compostable plastic straws. I really wanted to go with paper straws, and we went that route for about a week. And we had some issues, we had some complaints on it, not from customers actually, just from workers who thought it would be a problem. And anyway, long story short, it got kind of political, so we didn't go that route. But we do have compostable straws if people ask for them.
Do you have a high heat composting facility? Are you putting it in your composter?
Yes, and that thing does reach about 135, 140 degrees. Cool. So they break down, all the compostable plastics break down no problem unless the cups are stacked, and then they don't break down. Taterware doesn't work at all, though, by the way. Compostable utensils.
All right.